Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to She-Ra Week. So we're starting off this week of She-Ra focus. We're going to probably do other stuff too, but I definitely want to focus on She-Ra this week, getting finished with season 4. And we're starting that off with episode 9 and kind of moving onward from there. Now, we might do more than episode 9 this time. You'll know by the title, obviously. But I'm accounting at this moment for episode 9 at least, and maybe we'll go on past that. Now, I'm thinking that either way, we're probably going to end up doing 2 to 3 recordings for this, for She-Ra Week. 2 to 3 separate recordings, 2 to 3 separate videos of reactions to the final episodes, the second half, mostly, of She-Ra. Season 4. So I don't know too much what is going to happen by the end of this volume. I assume we're going to get more with Horde Prime, probably even really getting into that. I do know that the finale of the season is a 2-parter. I do know that. I don't know what occurs in it, but I know it's a 2-parter. I wonder if we're going to get Scorpio returning too, because ever since she kind of abandoned the Fright Zone, the Horde, and Catra, we haven't heard anything from her. So I'm wondering if we're going to get some follow-up on that at all. As I've stated in the past, I already do know a couple of things that do happen in the future. I just don't know exactly when they happen, and I don't know the context behind them. And I am going to keep those to myself for the moment until we get to them, because I don't want anyone possibly spoiling me any further in the comments or saying anything that could influence my views on what's to come. I want to continue going to this as blind as I possibly can, which at this point is less so than I would like, but still, as blind as I can. And any little bit of information I feel would risk that at this point. So obviously, if you know anything, if you've seen the final season and everything and the rest of this season, please do not say anything regarding what's to come. I don't want to be spoiled any further, because I love this show. I love this show, and I really want to find out stuff, but unfortunately, being so far behind has made it so that I've already been spoiled on a couple things, because I'm so far behind. But that's the problem when you have a release model such as Netflix's, where it's just like, oh, let's release an entire season at once, and then a few months later, release an entire another season, because we push binging like crazy instead of, actually taking time on a series and letting things sit. I still stand by that I do not like binging, and I don't do it most of the time because I feel it really hurts the overall experience. And I will always stand by that. There are some exceptions, but they're very few and far between. So yeah. But yeah, for this one, this is definitely one I would never have wanted to binge. Binging would have so ruined my experience with this series and made me hate it so much more. Well, made me hate it, really, because I don't hate it pretty much at all. I mean, there's a couple things I have issue with, but I don't hate the series. Either way. So yeah, just try to keep spoilers not just to a minimum, but to a non-existent. I don't want to have anything ruin the experience for me. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna do as many episodes as I feel is right here. I'm still thinking we'll probably do up to 3 reactions, 3 separate recordings for this, but we might end up doing 2 if I just get really into it today. Which, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to. I will say for sure, I am doing the last 2 episodes, the finale, in a separate video from everything else. That much I can guarantee. Those will be a completely separate video, no matter what. Which means the only way it would be 2 videos is if I do everything leading up to that in this video, which I guess is possible. And again, you guys already know because you can see the title, which tells you what episodes this is. But like you're from basically my future, so yeah. I'm excited though. I'm excited. I really can't wait to get to more of this. And I hope it just continues to be as great as it has been. Because I'll be honest, She-Ra has been one of the best animated shows of the 2010s by far, going into the 2020s. Of the 2010s going into the 2020s, of the past years, let's put it that way. It's been one of the best by far. I would say it's better than the likes of Steven Universe, of Star Versus, of all of that kind of stuff. Because even at its best, when Steven Universe was really fucking good, when Star Versus was really fucking good, even at their best, I still would have to say I like She-Ra more. Just on a personal level. It's not that I didn't like Steven Universe and Star Versus when they were at their best, but even before they like rapidly went downhill. But it's just this show, for some reason that I can't even fully explain, is just that much better to me. I just like it that much more. I don't know what else to say about it. I just really love it that much. Um, so yeah, I'm hoping that it ends that way. I'm hoping that it doesn't end like Steven Universe or Star Versus, where it just crashes and burns in the worst way possible. Because those shows did so well only to end in such a bad way. And look at it this way. Star Versus isn't even talked about anymore. And honestly, I think Steven Universe is going to go the same way. I mean, Steven Universe will always be a bigger deal. Will always be a bigger deal. Because it made just this massive splash, but it's really gone. It really went downhill. And even a lot of other diehard fans that I knew, like, really acknowledged that it just lost its way in the end. Um, but yeah, yeah. Either way, enough rambling. This is the wrong series on this channel for that. Um, and I hope you all enjoyed that, by the way, the Ramble Rouser video I put up, the start of the new weekly series. I hope you all enjoyed that. Either way, enough rambling. I get very off track very easily. We're just going to begin this and hope for the best with more She-Ra. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode or episodes, however many we watch today. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. 3, 2, 1. Sorry, this recording was only 1 episode. I couldn't rightfully continue after that. Not just because I was crying. This is why I hate the Netflix model, the binging model. To watch anything more after that, to not give it time, does a massive injustice. You need to sit on something like this. On an episode like this, you need to wait for anything more. This is by far the best episode of the show. It's not even close. Not just because we finally get to really see Mara, but because of everything this episode did. It it was such a massive payoff to so much that was built up. To Mara, to the first ones, to Raz, to the heart of Etheria, to everything. We found out so much. And even the stuff that wasn't directly, explicitly said was so well delivered. It was so well written to where you knew what the deal was, even if you didn't know all the details behind it. You knew what the deal was, and you could very much tell what was going on. And you can infer a lot. A lot is implied here, and a lot is even at least very well guessed. The first ones came to Etheria with a goal. Originally, at least as of what Mara was told, it was to harness the energy of the planet, to use it to help, to save, to protect things that make She-Ra. The first ones created the sword, and they used it when they changed. Again, whether it was their initial intention that they were hiding from Mara, whether it was what they always planned to do or not, whether they had changed at some point, realizing what the energy could do, their mission turned from simply using the energy to help people to a much more sinister desire. They were going to destroy worlds for their own sake, to help themselves. Under the guise that it would be helping others. And Mara found out about it. And she fought. And she gave her life for it. But she wasn't alone. It's not directly said when this started with Madame Raz. But it can at least be guessed that maybe it happened during the events of the Heart of Etheria project's completion. That those events that hurt Etheria so much and honestly probably created the Fright Zone, those events probably completely fucked up Madame Raz and caused her to have this time blinking curse. And constantly blinking between time periods would have driven anyone crazy. This poor woman who just wanted to love and protect and be with the planet and its creatures was driven insane by something that she had no control over, by the actions of selfish pieces of shit. And Mara couldn't stop it. Blinking throughout time, she interacted with both Shiras, with Mara, the fallen Shira whose name was dragged through the dirt forever after, simply because she went against orders to do the right thing. And the current Shira, Adora, who went against orders to do the right thing, who left the Fright Zone and became a true princess of power. Blinking between those time periods, going more and more insane, but still holding on to a semblance of her mind, understanding deep down what's going on and how terrible it is. The line that I know forevermore is going to just get to me anytime I hear it is the pie is done. Raz knows what's going on, more than she lets on, more than she even understands. She knows she's blinking through time, even if sometimes she forgets. And when she was making that pie, I think to a degree, deep down, she knew Mara was already gone, and it was going to be a tribute to her. All this time, Madame Raz has always kind of just seemed like a kooky old lady, just kind of crazy and weird and still likable, still nice and friendly and helpful, but it's always been clear she's known a lot more than she's ever let on. I just didn't know it was going to be this. I had no idea. I had no way of knowing how big this was going to be. And this entire time, when it's talking about Mara's superiors, this entire episode, I'm just wondering in the back of my head, could it be Horde Prime? I don't think it is, though. I don't think it is. I think it was just the first ones. It doesn't matter like any specifics on who it was. It was just the first ones, and they were just messed up. And those who stayed on Etheria after everything happened, those who remain there because it's made clear they colonized the planet and everything, they ended up like through degrees and everything absorbing the magic. They changed in terms of form, just powers, and they eventually became who we know today. Everyone on Etheria, I fully believe, all the princesses, everyone is a descendant of the first ones. They're descended from these people who did all of this. Because it's very much implied in this episode that prior to that there was the planet was very much wilderness with all these like kind of like spiritual looking animals running around. And there might have been some people other than Madame Raz there, but it's not clear. And hell, we don't technically even know if Madame Raz was there prior to it. She could have been a first one too, for all we know. She could have been a first one who was corrupted by all of this and only met Mara and everything through the time skipping, the time jumping back and forth. And I mean, that's very much implied that that part is true, but you know what I mean. For all we know, it was just an uninhabited, well, in terms of humanity or the likes of which, it was uninhabited until the first ones came. And I feel it kind of heavily implies that. This episode did so much for this series. Again, paying off on so many things that had been built up. But even more than that, even beyond just everything it did in terms of storytelling, writing, payoffs to build ups and everything, it was heartbreaking. And I think that's what did it for me. This episode was heartbreaking on every level. Raz, Mara, Adora finding all this out. Finding out that She-Ra, in terms of the sword and the powers that it gives and everything, is just technology built by the first ones in order to control the user for the purpose of their ultimate goal. It's fucked up. This was not one of the things I knew about beforehand, by the way. This was not one of the things that I was spoiled on, and I'm so glad I wasn't. Because of all the things that I could have been spoiled on, this is the one thing that I think would have ruined that for me just that much more. This was so fucking good. I talked about in the pre-thoughts about how when both Steven Universe and Starverses were at their best, they were really fucking good. But that how I liked She-Ra more just on a personal level, just based on what we have for the story and the characters and all. This episode alone hit me honestly harder than anything Starverses or Steven Universe has done. And both of those shows have hit me very hard with multiple things. They very much have. But that was something special. This episode is called Hero. And it's such a fitting term. So apropos. Because it's not just talking about Mara. It's talking about what Adora needs to be. It's not talking about She-Ra. It's talking about Adora. How she needs to become a hero and finish what Mara started. That she needs to show that strength that is greater than Mara. And she needs to put an end to this once and for all. And I truly believe she will. There's some things she needs to do first, like getting over her bullshit with Glimmer, but I do believe she will. She'll be the hero Etheria needs. When I started this show, I could never have predicted where it would go. Because as I've said in the past, I never really saw the original She-Ra from the 80s. I watched He-Man, but even that I didn't like watch super actively. I knew of She-Ra. I maybe saw like a couple little bits of it here and there randomly, but I never watched it like especially actively. So I had no idea what I was going to get into. In a lot of ways, through watching this, I was scared that it would turn out like Voltron did. Because Voltron Legendary Defender, another show just like Steven Universe and Star Versus that started out great and at its prime was amazing, but then dropped the ball. Though Voltron, to be fair, was never as good as either of those other two. But I was afraid because it was another DreamWorks animation for Netflix, um, another reboot of a classic cartoon, that it was going to turn out much the same way. But at least so far, it hasn't. In fact, She-Ra's actually done kind of the opposite and gotten better. It was good at the start. Hell, it was great at the start. But it's gotten so much better because of these developments, because of these characters, their growths, their struggles, their pains, and their hopes. And I hope it stays like that for the final season, and well, for the rest of this season as well. But for the final season, I hope it doesn't drop the ball like these other shows have. Because this could very well be in my top three favorite shows, period. If it really not only doesn't drop the ball, but really continues down the path it's going to where it becomes just that damn good. We'll have to see. I was thinking I was going to do more than one episode today, but no, again, I can't continue after that. It's not, it doesn't feel right in any sense for me to do so. Because to me, it's like you have to have that space between episodes to really ruminate on things. And this is one of those episodes that you really need to ruminate on. This is one of those episodes that you can't just continue on after. Doing so would, it almost feels like it'd be disrespectful to the show, which again is why I very much hate this entire binge watching model that Netflix has. The only positive is that a lot of these companies and everything putting these shows on Netflix allows them to do a lot more that they wouldn't be able to on other networks. So I can at least be glad for that. It allows them a lot more creative freedom. And hell, this show is a great example of that. Because let's be honest, a lot of what this show has had would not be in any way permissible if this was on Disney Channel or Nickelodeon or whatever, Cartoon Network even. And Cartoon Network's gotten a lot better. Hell, Disney and Nickelodeon have gotten a lot better in a lot of ways too. But this show is a lot more. It's a lot more heavy-handed with its themes and ideas and the LGBTQ representation. Let's be honest, that it's very heavy in this series. This show is a lot more heavy-handed with it, even when it's not directly said, like with Natasha and Spinnerella. Even when it's more just heavily implied or just blatantly obvious based on context. It's like they would not be able to get away with this much. But even that, other than that, just this show would be watered down so much if it were on a televised network rather than Netflix. So you have to be glad in that case. And hell, you don't have to binge it. Like I don't tend to binge these shows. That's why I'm so behind still. um, The only problem with that is they do release so much in such a short amount of time, and it's like once you're like done with this season, it's like the next season's already been done with for months. So it's like, ugh, still a problem with that. But yeah, it's like at least I can take it at my own pace. Really, I don't have to binge it. But yeah, this was easily the best episode of the show so far, and by far, like if this, just as an example, if this show were at like a B ranking before, that would have jumped it up to an A plus alone. I'm not even kidding. And by the way, I'm not saying it was at a B ranking for me before. That's just an example, just to kind of illustrate how good that episode was. I can't wait to see more, but we're gonna wait. We'll do more Shira this week. Again, we're probably gonna do two more because there's four more episodes left. There's 10 and 11, and then the final two episodes, 12 and 13, again are the two-parter. So we'll probably do 10 and 11 in one video, and then 12 and 13 in another. Um, so yeah, that's probably how it's gonna go. So they could come out at any time this week. I don't know. Because again, I do want to get to other stuff. I do still want to get to other stuff. I'm just calling this Shira week because of how much Shira we're doing this week. We are finishing off the season and everything. So that's like 5 episodes total. So yeah, we are still going to get to other things. But yeah, it's like I just don't know. I might take. I might not do anything tomorrow because I'm just going to want some time to process and everything. Might just do something else. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Um, but we will get the rest of Shira season 4 done by the end of this week for sure. Not even a question. Like I will make sure of it. Even if we have to forego other stuff. Um, so yeah. Tell me your thoughts on episode 9 of Shira season 4 down in the comments below. And as I said before, no spoilers. Do not spoil me on a goddamn thing, please. Even if you think it might be what I've already been spoiled on, the couple little things I've already been spoiled on, please do not say anything. Because uh, just I don't want anything spoiled at this point. I don't want anything more spoiled. I don't want any chance of learning anything more about context behind things that I just nothing. Okay, tell me your thoughts on this episode and everything, and how it affects episodes prior to this and the series as a whole. Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of I seem kind of manic or frantic or whatever right now. That episode just really got to me in the best way possible. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.